Alright, this is my thoughts, my opinions, and what I think is gonna come with Logic Sports Studio album, Ultra 85, and what I think he's gonna talk about, what in what in subjects and content that he's gonna talk about. And basically what I think he's gonna talk about is this album is gonna there's gonna be some fun moments, there's gonna be some moments where it's like dang, like he's rapping. But for the most part I feel like this album is gonna be very emotional and it's gonna be hard to take in. And the reason why I'm saying it's gonna be hard to take in is because there's knowing like while you're listening to this album, in the back of your mind you're like, damn, like this is gonna be his last album. This is gonna be his last album that he's put together, his last project. He's still gonna rap on other people's and songs, features. He's still gonna do all that stuff, but for the most part, he's done with albums. He's not gonna make any more albums, and I think that's gonna be the emotional part for fans to take in, and it's gonna suck, but at the same time, it's gonna be more of a celebration, and it's gonna be a farewell. It's gonna be like, yo, like I gave you everything I gave you everything I had on 4 studio albums and mixtapes, and I feel like I don't have anything else to talk about. And that's actually a positive. That's not a negative. Like Logic gave us everything he's had to talk about. He's talked about being under pressure with dealing with Def Jam and being black and white, being broke, growing up Section 8 housing. He touched on those topics more on the Incredible True Story as well, and he talked about it a lot on Everybody. And what I feel about Ultra 85 is I feel like this is gonna be Logic's classic album, and I don't care what anybody else thinks. I don't I don't care what anybody else has to say. Like I feel like this is gonna be his classic album. I know it's gonna be his classic album, and the reason why I know it's gonna be his classic album is because not only is it's gonna be his last album, but I feel like, like in my opinion, he's been working on this album since in The Incredible True Story. In my personal opinion, this album has been done and it's been in the works for easily 2-3 years. In my opinion, and that's what I feel, and I feel like the album's already finished, and all he has left is to do is add the concepts of the album, and it's finished. And I hear a lot of people throwing out the date, July. I feel like he's gonna release it on 4th of July, and the reason why I feel like he's gonna release it on in 4th of July is not only it's in, it's a celebration, Independence Day, the day of freedom, freedom of speech, all this stuff, but I feel like it's a celebration, and I feel like he wants to go out on top and go out on the peak of his career, and he just wants to say goodbye, and this is his farewell, and yeah, and I feel like this is gonna be his classic album. I really do, because it's gonna be some sad moments. It's gonna be moments where it's like celebration, some fun moments, some songs where he's rapping. But for the most part, I feel like it's gonna be a very emotional album, and it's gonna be really hard for fans to take in, and knowing that this is his last album. And I feel like you guys remember how till the end, when he was talking about all these messed up things, talking about coming from Section 8, growing up on food stamps, and all this other stuff, his dad not being in his life, and then you got till the end, and it was just a very emotional song to take in, and I feel like Ultra 85 is gonna be an album full of songs like Till the End, where he's basically like it's a celebration, and yeah, and I feel like this is gonna be his classic album. And do I think it's gonna be his last album? I don't think it's gonna be his last album. In my opinion, I don't think it is. Just because as a rapper, you know, people like Jay Z, fucking who else? Fucking there's a bunch of rappers. Game, Jay, um, who else? There's a bunch of rappers that said that they're gonna retire, but they never retired. Like the only rapper that I believe that really retired was Mos Def. But other than that, like I don't believe when rappers say like they're done with rap. You know, they're not gonna make any more albums. They're not gonna rap anymore. It's like to me that's kind of like bullshit. And I'm not saying Logic's not gonna stick with his word, but I don't feel like he's gonna just retire because as a rapper, once you get into musically, you start coming up with all these concepts. You know, it's really hard to walk away from it. You know, it really is. And I don't think Logic's gonna retire. In my opinion, I just think he's feeling contradicted, and he's kind of feeling in denial with himself because he wants to be accepted by other rappers outside of his fan base, and that's the reason why he's kind of fighting himself, and that's kind of why he fell into a depression, you can say, because he wants to be accepted. And, you know, he wants to be put in those discussions with, you know, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, you know, Isaiah Rashad's, you know, he wants to be in that discussion with this generation of rappers. And I feel like people are kind of writing him off, and I think it's kind of unfair. But people are writing him off just because, you know, his appearance and the way he carries himself and the way he's himself. And to me, that's kind of fucked up. But, hey, it is what it is. You know, but if this is Logic's last album, you know, he had one good of a career, and I really appreciate, and I want to thank him for everything he has done with music and how he changed my life. And yeah, peace.